Hello and welcome to the course. My name is James Cross and I'm from Calibri Limited. This is the AWS Bootcamp course, Part 1, Autoscaling Applications in the Cloud by Pact Publishing. Like I said, my name is James Cross and I work for Calibri Limited. I'm a certified AWS Solutions Architect with more than 3 years of experience architecting and implementing solutions on AWS. I've been working in this space for quite some time now, originally working with other cloud technologies like Rackspace before moving to AWS, and I've applied the things that I've learned in a number of spaces, including with startups, with London-based banks, and more recently with my own startup. And my speciality in the context of AWS is really serverless web technologies, scalable big data applications, and predictive analytics. So let's take a look at the course overview and the things that you're going to learn on this AWS Bootcamp course. One of the things that really sets this course apart from some of the other AWS courses out there in the marketplace at the moment is the pace at which we're going to go at. A lot of the AWS courses at the moment are focused really on the AWS certifications. Now, these certifications are great if you've already got experience working on AWS, and they're a really, really valuable professional certification to have in the industry, which is why I took the course myself. However, if you just want to get started building practical applications on AWS, you'll find that some of these courses are quite theoretical, quite heavy on theory, and you spend a lot of time learning things that really you'll only ever apply in the exam. So with this course, we're going to focus on being quite fast-paced, on practical things and how you can apply them to AWS. So in terms of logistics, we're going to start with an introduction to AWS, the history of AWS, and a 10,000-foot overview of all of the services that they offer. Keep it nice and short and simple and relevant. Amazon has over 50 services that they offer to you in the cloud, so we're not going to talk in detail about all of them, but really focus on the ones that are interesting and relevant for application developers like ourselves. So first of all, we're going to look at virtual computing. So Amazon's virtual computing technology is called EC2, or the Elastic Compute Cloud for short. So we're going to spend a lot of time looking at the types of EC2 instances available to us, the sort of things that we can do with them, and how they can work for us in the context of cloud computing. Some of the things we're going to cover are security, how to SSH into our server, how to access them through the Amazon command line interface, as well as some of the metadata that we can obtain from our EC2 instances with our application. After that, we're going to move on to storage. Storage, of course, is a very, very important topic in the context of cloud computing. One of the big things that we get when we move to AWS is very, very low cost, very easily accessible storage. And probably you've already heard about Amazon S3, but Amazon S3 is Amazon's object storage offering in the cloud. And we're going to spend some time looking at S3, looking at the kind of features it offers us, things like pricing options, opportunities to archive data, version control and that kind of thing, before looking at how we can actually distribute the data that we store in S3 to our application users across the world. And there's a technology called CloudFront for that. CloudFront is a content delivery network, and we're going to build a simple example that uses S3 for storing our data and CloudFront for distributing it to our users. Next, we're going to spend a little bit of time looking at Node.js. And here's the first thing I want to call out about this course. We're not going to teach you to program. Now, I don't expect you to know Node.js. I don't expect you to necessarily understand too much Node.js. And certainly you don't have to be a Node.js expert. However, it is important that you understand high-level programming language. Something like Java, something like Python, or JavaScript, or any other high-level language will be really, really important for you in this course. All of the code will be provided, but we will spend a little bit of time looking through our Node.js application, understanding what it's going to do for us, how it works, and how it's going to interact with Amazon Web Services. Finally, we'll look at deploying that Node.js application as a fully auto-scaled microservice on AWS. So we're going to apply the things that we've learned with EC2, with S3, with some load balancing to create an auto-scaled application that's resilient and web scale and can handle pretty much an infinite amount of traffic on AWS. Like I said, in this course you won't learn to code, and I really want to call this out. It's very, very important. If you have no prior programming experience, you will struggle to keep up with some parts of this course. This course is a bootcamp course. We want to teach you AWS from the very, very beginning, But in order to do that, we need to apply it to real-world examples, and that requires having an understanding, a basic understanding at least, of a high-level programming language. So in terms of prerequisites, again, one more time, you need to be confident in some high-level programming language, something like Java, Python, JavaScript, even C or C++ will help you. Any kind of language like that is going to be a really, really important thing for understanding what we're doing in this course. Of course, you need a computer. I'm running everything on a Mac. You'll see this tutorial is fully done on a Mac. But any other Windows or Linux PC will be absolutely fine for this course. However, it is important that you have admin or root permissions because we will be installing some software on our local computers in order to help us understand and interact with AWS. We'll also need an AWS free tier account, and in the next video I'm going to guide you through setting that up and how to create it. And we'll also need network access on ports 22, 80 and 443. And this is also really important because we're going to be creating services that run in the cloud on AWS. And in order to verify that they're working, we need to be able to access those services remotely. So port 22 we'll use for SSH. That's how we connect to our Amazon Ec2 instances. And then port 80 is for HTTP traffic, for web traffic, and 443 is for SSL-based web traffic, so secure web traffic. So I do encourage you at this point, if you're on a corporate network or any kind of guest Wi-Fi network, perhaps in a hotel or a cafe or something like this where there might be network restrictions in place, do test that out in advance, because if you have problems later on, it could be due to some network restrictions. And how about the goals of the course? So just as a recap, we're obviously going to learn how to set up and access our free tier AWS account, and we're going to do that in the very next video. We want to come away from this with a basic understanding of some of the services that are available to us on AWS. We want to learn about the different compute and storage mediums available to us, so EC2 and predominantly S3 as well. And then we're going to build a very simple web service application in Node.js. Again, we don't need to understand Node.js or be an expert. I'll be your guide. I'm not going to teach it to you, but you'll have a sufficient understanding after this course what the application does. And then we're going to deploy that application using some of the services which we've already learnt about.